So, welcome to a very juicy conversation that we're about to have myself and my beautiful friend Lydia McClain. Hello, Lydia.
Hey Ashley, I'm so happy to be here.
We were wondering about doing an Instagram live, and we were like, no, we need to just come on and do a full episode because there's no way we can keep
Mm.
the short attention span of people on Instagram. And we want to talk to you about today about spoiler alert, maybe it's rage, maybe it's why rage is so hot and sexy and powerful. And yeah, bring in a bit about my hold on, I'll cut that bit. It's fine.
You're great.
It's always getting started, and then I'm like, what?
And then we get into it. Yeah, you're good. You're great.
So I am going to be a guest on Lydia's breathwork facilitation that's starting this autumn for women, and Lydia is going to be a special guest at my women's anger retreat, also happening end of October. So we were like, okay, we need to have more conversations. We actually need to film these. The last time we met in person, we were like, we should have just recorded the whole of this couple of hours having coffee and talking. So now
Literally.
we're following that system as well. But welcome, Lydia. Super happy to have you here. And
I'm so happy to be here, Ashley. I think this conversation is way too juicy for Instagram, and I'm really glad that we decided to do this and lean in and have a conversation specifically for reclaiming rage as a sacred feminine right. It's our birthright and medicine, and gets to be such a reclamation, especially for, I know for myself, for the women in femme that I serve who predominantly are survivors of sexual trauma. And that's who I mainly work with. And we get to have a conversation around rage and sexual trauma, which I feel like is going to be potent to say the least.
yeah, and this isn't a podcast like a normal one where I'm just going to be asking Lydia lots of questions. She probably has more questions for me in how we do this setup. So bear with us in our feminine chaos of like how this is going to unfold. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think I can ask at least the first question. I mean, maybe you want to share who you are. I mean, that is maybe a very traditional podcast structure.
That's it. Let's start with that. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Lydia, and I'm the founder of Resurrection Breathwork. This is a breathwork for healing personal and collective sexual trauma with the seven codes of the rose. I am a somatic priestess of the rose, which means that I work with rose medicine specifically for healing and helping women coming home to their roots, coming home to their power, coming home to their hearts, coming home to the cyclical nature of inner beauty, of what it means to walk the beauty way, of what it means to reclaim your bloom after trauma and to come home and to feel safe and alive and juicy and magnificent in your body, which is your birthright. So
Yeah.
that's basically what I do, Ashley. And we met. Should we give the
Yeah.
origin story? I feel like we won't have an elevator pitch. We'll just go
No,
into the
we'll have
origin story.
we met because of the dark side and of the internet.
We did. It was a couple of years ago, and I was going through a divorce, and I was really in a period of reclaiming my power after navigating a collapse of a 15-year relationship and really working through my own anger and my own grief. And one of the ways that I was doing that was really through being seen in my power and my emotions that maybe some people might label as the dark feminine, too much, messy, wild, chaotic, destructive, that more like Kalima energy. And I had up until this point been very like love and light on my Instagram. It was really like wearing lots of white and like just soft feminine energy, which is so beautiful, right? We love that. But I wasn't embracing the wholeness of it. And in traditional style for me, I just didn't prep anybody. I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna post a video of like me going through my healing process. And part of my healing process at the time was really entering the sacred theater of the feminine, which to me is the right of like adorning yourself when you are doing healing work. And for me, that looked like wearing a bunch of black clothes, which was mostly lingerie, wearing snake earrings, red lipstick, and filming myself in my healing process. And I decided to hit post because fuck it. Like I would have loved to see that content when before, I lived it first. And at first, when I posted that, the responses that I got were like positive, like, wow, this is so empowering. I didn't know this was possible. And then it went viral on the wrong side of the internet. I got to the point, so many comments to the point where it really became quite abusive and DMs and emails and just basically turned into a witch hunt, what felt like a witch hunt. And that's when we connected. That's when we connected. And shortly after, you had a similar experience.
Yeah, I remember seeing
Yeah.
this post and sending it to my best friend because I think I already was found it when the comments were turning rough.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it's like so it feels like an equal fight, and then some point it's like much of one side happening, and there's less positive comments coming in, and it's mainly just like people jumping on the bandwagon of insults. And I
Yes.
remember finding this, and you were sharing a lot on your stories, and I sent it to my best friend, and it's like, wow, she's handling going viral so well.
Mm.
Imagine like how that would be. Wow, like this is because it was very similar sorts of processes that happen at the trainings in sessions
Yeah.
that I give. And for myself, I have posted reels, but more so of like anger and sadness and like big releases happening in the retreats. But also
Yeah.
it was only 18 months ago, love. You say it's a couple of years,
Oh,
it's
God, what
not
is
been that
time? Okay,
long.
18. Oh, God. Well, I'm telling you, you do this healing work and time goes quicker. It's wild.
Yeah. Or we just live more in such a
Yeah.
short amount of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember sending it to my best friend, and then 6 weeks later, it happened to me. And then I remember
Hmm.
messaging you like, "This is happening to me as well." Ah.
And it was such an amazing, like, I mean, through the chaos and through the wild experience that is going viral and receiving,
Death
um,
threats and
yeah, death threats, literally. I think you find your people. You
yeah,
find your people because there's no bullshit, right? It's like, this is who I am. And people are either like, yes, I'm so here for your full expression, or they're not.
yeah,
And I love that that's how we got to meet each other because I feel like there's like, this is my juicy guts. And I got to see that from you. And it was just so, like, I will never forget that moment. It was like, it was a moment where I really felt like, to be seen by another woman in my power was so healing, and I think is so healing. And at least that's what brings me to do this work and in the way that I do, and the way that I know that you do as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how we're here now.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of topics that we brainstormed before, no idea in what order we're gonna go, but
Yeah.
maybe we can start with why do you need more support with anger for your training and for the women that you're working with?
Yeah, we were opening up this conversation as we were preparing, and something that I've really realized in working with women specifically in healing sexual trauma is there's a need for more space holding, and there's a need for more bodies in the room who can hold the frequency that can really. I gotta do this one over again. Hold on. It's like so glad we can edit this. Thank God. Okay. Um, why do I need this? Yes. Okay. Great. Okay. So, what I started realizing as we were opening up to, okay, let me put it this way. When I first started doing this training, I wasn't aware that this was going to be a program for healing sexual trauma. At
Mm,
first, I thought this was like, okay, we're working with breath work, we're opening up to all sorts of traumatic imprints. And then I realized that the far majority of participants in the program came for one common thread, and that was to heal their sexual trauma. That was to heal and reclaim their life force energy. And with that, I started to realize that one of the main imprints that came with that was shame by being seen by other women, not even by men, but by other women. And that we need more women who are attuned to be able to hold the depth, hold the expansiveness, and that it's not something I can hold alone. Just like I'm thinking about this like beautiful bouquet of like roses here, right? Like one rose is gorgeous, she's stunning, but the more that we have in full bloom, the more that we can expand, the more amplified the container can be. And, I've seen your work and it's just, I know that what you will bring to this container will be so rich and so deep and will help us to open up and bloom if we can really allow ourselves to have a space that we can process, that we can be seen, that we can be witnessed, not just by me, not just by one person, but by multiple women and by multiple women who are seasoned and really know their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be open to defining what sexual trauma means for people maybe who are like, I don't know if that's me, like,
Yeah, yeah, let's do it. So, to me, I really loop in sexual trauma with sexual abuse energy. And to me, that's a frequency that exists within our nervous system when our life force is taken away from us, when our life force is extracted, when there's a frequency of seeking power over another, and often happens and often is difficult to talk about and difficult to actually define because it disguises itself as love. It's one of the most insidious energies that exists because it puts on the mirror so often of love. And when we have core attachment wounds where we haven't felt loved and we haven't felt like we are worthy of love or we're seeking love other places outside of ourselves, that's when there's a gap, that's when there's an opening for that energy to come through. And to me, when I talk about sexual trauma, I really like to expand the topic to invite people to really think beyond what we might think of as just defining sexual trauma as rape. It's so much bigger and more expansive than that. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. That's for sure. Like I know I'm working with so many women who have boundaries topics and
Yeah.
even this exploitation of power happening in the workplace, happening in friendships, happening in partner, like it doesn't have to I've also experienced this at way beyond the realm of
Yeah.
like my genitals.
Yes.
It's more like the heart, like also for women, like it really feels like when the heart is not taken care of, and
Yeah.
this like this feeling of something being taken and like without consent.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy that we're talking about this now, and it's because part of my journey growing up was also with like intense attachment wounding of like trying to find my mother in every man that I met, every
Yeah.
welcoming arms, no matter if it was a wolf with a mask on or not.
Yeah.
I went through like a celibacy process at the start of this year, and yeah, having many encounters also with the nice guys. And we can talk about this
Mm.
later. I have another episode that's coming out about nice guys in particular.
Mm.
How this phenomenon, this archetype, ironically isn't very nice, but is what's purported to be like, I'm here, I love you, I have so much care for you. And actually the opposite is happening and they don't even know it. Like it's not a video about shaming also, it's just about bringing awareness.
Yeah.
Because yeah, shame is the opposite of healing. And
Yeah.
yeah, we could talk about this also in more depth, but I love that this is
Yeah.
happening on this moment as well.
I love that we're deepening into this and having this conversation openly because once again, even having our stories witnessed in spaces where we're seen, where we're witnessed, that's how shame heals, right? And this is part of that. So thank you for everybody who's listening to it, and thank you for opening up the conversation and asking. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm curious for you in the work that you do with specifically women, femme, bodies with wombs who have experienced any kind of trauma, but especially sexual trauma. Like, how does that really manifest in the nervous system? Like, what are some of the most common things that you see as far as how, their boundaries, their relationships? Are there like common patterns that you see?
Yeah, so fawning and people pleasing
Yeah.
is very common because the body has just found that that's the easiest way to stay safe
Mm.
in the face of it may be ongoing or situations that mimic similar energy to the abuse situation. And a lot of self-criticism. I'm talking more about emotional symptoms right now, but the inner critic is so harsh for themselves, for these women. And I've been in this state like, did I do something wrong? Clearly, I must have led them on. Clearly, I'm the one in the wrong here. I'm not the one. I should have had better boundaries. This shoulda, like self flagellation. I think that's the right word. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
is so present. And in emotional release, like my background, as people I think know, but if not, is around working with emotional release, psychosomatic healing. And the first premise of this is around like that we make safety inside of the body. So
Yeah.
not that like I'm not providing the safety, that I'm creating a container where the safety can come up, and for these parts to be witnessed, the
Mhm.
nagging critic, the part that feels really sad, the part that still loves that person maybe who did this, like there's so many voices swimming around inside that it can feel very confusing. It's like,
Mm.
I don't know what I feel. Okay, then it's easier to feel nothing. I feel numb. I know that a lot of numbness comes up in physical sensation. When I had memories arising during my training, I didn't feel like when I would meditate, I couldn't feel energetically below my belly button for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like my lower body ceased to exist. And I
Mm.
could see it, but I couldn't connect to it. I couldn't connect to any of the lower energy centers, chakras, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
And so numbness is very common because that's protection.
Yeah.
And in emotional release, we say that there's different levels of response that the body can give. And actually pain and pain, inflammation, tension, where you feel active pain is
Mm.
actually a level one response. It means the body's communicating, like pain in the womb, pain in the ovaries, painful periods, pain in the stomach. Like that's actually the body still talking. But when there is level two response, which is shutdown,
Mm.
and we're not shaming shutdown. It's just like that is
No.
that is actually even harder to work with. It like just needs more time and more
Yeah.
safety and more opening. So I think as a society, we're programmed to think that pain is bad, and
Yeah.
pain is not bad. Pain is a
Mm.
language. Pain is talking
Mm.
in is trying to speak one language, but we just speak another one. And my work, especially with somatic healing, is trying to find a way to bridge those two. Like this is faxes, and we now receive emails, and somehow we need to find where the transference of
Mm.
information wants to come through, of what wants to be seen.
Oh, this is so juicy. And like, when I first what is coming forward is when I first started doing breath work, and one of the most common things is I see when people come into this work is you would think like you see these videos online, people doing breath work and they're having these huge emotional releases. More common than not, I see dissociation and I
Yeah,
see numbness.
yeah,
I see like we're falling asleep doing this practice, which is also, a response in the body's it's shutting down in a way, right? And we're not shaming this. We're sharing because it makes sense. This is a natural reaction to when the body's been violated and when our body doesn't feel safe to feel, or when it feels that when we, I think more commonly what I also see is that we want to feel, but there's like a there's like a block there that's like, if I start feeling this, and specifically anger, which is why I love we're having this conversation. If I start to feel anger, what if it consumes me?
mm,
What if it becomes overwhelming? I'm already overwhelmed by X, Y, and Z in my life. If I start to feel this emotion, is this gonna like completely
yeah,
re-traumatize me?
yeah,
Right. And so I think, looping back to your first question, one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have you come into this training is to bring in the somatics piece, because so often we need to go slow.
yeah,
And anger isn't, I'm preaching to the choir here. It's not always just like going big, right? It's just the micro movements that can help us move from freeze, that can help us move from shutdown into flow into that level of communication with our body, because underneath anger is so much more, which is maybe something we can start to illuminate a little
Yeah.
bit and talk into. Yeah.
And I mean, one thing I really want to bring in is, I mean, we're also training facilitators for emotional release.
Yeah.
And even as a facilitator, the biggest challenge that comes up in people's minds is like the process should be different than it is presenting itself. Like
Mm.
if you're in your own healing journey, I should be more healed by now, or I should be out of freeze by now, or I should. And the person giving a session might be like, oh, they have intense trauma. Like I need to guide them. I need to take them deeper and it needs to be more. And it's like
Yes.
the biggest practice in this work with emotions is like, can you simply allow that this is how it is right now?
Yeah.
Can you witness it? It's there, okay? Can you allow that it is there? And if you
Mm.
can't, can you allow that you find it difficult to allow? Huh, okay. And then the body is already creating safety because it's not fighting itself. It's not judging at every state. And this is how when I talk about pain also, like say you have a pain in your womb, like when you have cramps on your period, which I mean is the body giving a signal. And that's so
Yeah.
easy to resist them, to be like, oh my God, pain,
Mm.
contraction, tension. I don't want this. Go away, go away, go away. And what are we telling our body and that symptom, that wave of communication? You're not wanted. I don't
Yeah.
want to look at you. I don't accept you. Go away. And that in essence means it just persists.
Yeah.
And so in any if whatever people take from this, and also when we do your training, it's like that simple context of like, can I just allow that this is, oh yeah, my body fell asleep. Can I allow that happened? Can I
Yeah.
deeply trust that whenever my body feels like it's ready to soften, it will soften? And it's not when I think it's going to happen. It's not when I expect it to. Just like an orgasm, you can't just force it. It has to just naturally build.
Exactly.
Like really, I
Ex
make a lot of jokes in our training that emotional release is the same as doing sexual orgasms, even though we don't do that physically, but in there is safety is required, there is
Yeah.
a build-up, there is
Yeah.
stimulation of some sorts, there is a peak moment, which is what you see on the Instagram videos of people expressing anger, and there's the integration and clarity afterwards. It's the
Yeah.
exact same wave that the emotions want to follow in the body as with an orgasm. And what gets in the way is our mind.
Exactly. Because if we don't feel safe to surrender, we don't feel safe, we have all of those protective mechanisms not
Yeah.
allowing us. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the work that you do and I do, and the people that get to train and people that get to offer this work is we learn how to harmonize. We learn how to attune to someone's nervous system and how to really hold that space where we're not pushing for catharsis. We're
Exactly.
not pushing for something that is a no in someone's body. And I feel like that's like, some of the gaps that I saw in the training as I was building it. I've been doing it for almost 4 years now. This will be the third iteration, and something that I saw that was missing. And what I think will be so powerful about the work that you do and just continuing to expand it is really doing that boundary repair of being able to start to feel safe to listen to the communication of your body when it's in contraction, when it's like no, right? And to start to really honor that and not try to attune and override our natural instincts, right? Just because, oh, I don't know if I should feel that way. Like, I don't know if I'm doing a healing session and the person should be doing, no, right? Our
Yeah.
job is to hold space for what is arising in someone's nervous system and to help to guide them to
Yeah.
honor that. And when we have that kind of communication, that's when the emotions can start to come up. And I love that orgasm metaphor. That's exactly it. That's really a good healing session should feel like you just had some delicious sex with your heart. It really should. Like it feels like you have opened up and you're getting to intimately and see into yourself in a way that you otherwise might not have.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's so I always use this analogy, like just like at the end of an orgasm, you also leave your client alone and let them be in the downloads. Just like
Yeah.
you don't want to keep rubbing on a clit after someone's come, like, no, go away, leave
Yeah.
them. let them be in it.
Let them integrate. Exactly.
That's what people want from a session. It's the insights that come afterwards, the like clarity, the aha moments. It's not
Yeah.
about the actual being in a state of anger, because that's a lot of criticism I receive online, that I'm just
Mm.
bringing people into dysregulation and that's it. And it's like, no, like what you see of that big moment of catharsis is maybe like 1 or 2 minutes of the whole 45-minute session. Like
Yeah.
there's so much more subtlety to it as well. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that really is one of the things that we weave into this style of breath work is I don't when I'm working with a client, it's like, yeah, we show the videos of like the big emotional releases and the tears and the anger and the snot and the all the wildness. But really, like in order to go there, there's so much preparation work and there's so much, it takes time. It takes time and like the I wish that we had more value as a culture for that part too,
Yeah.
right? That we those videos went viral also of like the deep slowness and the tenderness and the softening that gets to happen when we're healing.
Yeah, I wish more of them would go viral. Like,
Yeah.
not this 3 seconds attention span that does still sometimes give the wrong idea of what trauma healing is in
Yeah.
this field, whether it's emotional release, breath work. Like, there's so many examples I see of these like big catharsis modalities, like Kundalini activation. Even like there are many breathwork schools that I'm like, I see the videos and I'm like, or even now, I just saw one that was like ayahuasca body work of like, but people really doing very intense like body work on women, like men working on women whilst on them. And I'm like,
Ugh.
there's so much. That's probably a whole nother episode that we'll go into.
That's
The,
all.
the
We could
wacky
have a
cowboys. That's what my this. I have a podcast, Spiritual Bypassers podcast. We talk about that a lot there, and
yeah.
it's that. But coming back to the nuances of like
Yeah.
really being attuned to the human, and what I love and is my biggest thing saying around like what makes you qualified to do this work is to go into your own body and into your own feelings, and that you can only
Yeah.
take your client as deep as you've gone yourself. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think that like I had a student the other week ask me like, where can I learn things about breath work? And I was like, yeah, you can learn a lot from doing breath work classes,
Yeah.
like as in like go to a teacher, but also like go to a workshop, like go and just be a participant, like
Yeah.
be a forever student of life when it comes
Yeah.
to this work of good teachers.
Oh, good. Exactly. And I mean, yeah, and the thing is, find that the more that, when the more that we go into our own healing, the more capacity that we have for understanding what it means to really hold space for others and what's required for us to hold our life force energy in such a way that is clean. And I think that that's something that I really admire about your work. And something that I really like really am very, very mindful of, specifically with the type of wounding that comes into my spaces, is really dropping in with feeling like you've really done the work.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people who do a quick weekend training or doing something that is like a long weekend, and I'm certified to do this and now I'm going in. And I learned the hard way when I had done a few weekend trainings like that and I started to, was excited facilitating and doing that, and I started to realize that what was coming up for people, I didn't know how to hold because I hadn't gone there, because I didn't have enough study, I didn't have enough training myself. And so I think yeah, right, the more experience that we can have, and something about, the facilitator training that I run is that it's 5 months, it's not 5 days, right? It's focused on doing your own healing and holding that as your first and foremost priority, as being your own best healer, so that you can be qualified within yourself and have your own certification that you know what you need to tend to your needs. You know what you need to uphold your boundaries, you know how to take care of yourself, and you know you're not looking to seek that or prove something with the client. You're not trying to push them because you know you're lacking within yourself, right? You feel really sovereign, you feel really clean in your own energy, and you have a space to give that is coming from overflow.
Yeah.
And right, we're not trying to project anything on our clients. We're not trying to have the session, if it goes well or if it's good or bad or something, mean anything about us, right? We're showing up neutral. We're showing up in a space of um, our own depth because we've met ourselves there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love to hear about your training. And what I'm really looking forward to bring in for your students is how to step out of victim mentality
Yeah.
and into self-responsibility.
Mm.
And it's a big word, trigger warning. The victim, it is a very intense word to use, and I'm using that fully aware that that is a big topic.
Yeah.
In emotional release and with anger in particular, I use this word because we do not want to bypass any of our states of emotional feeling. And a lot of the time people think about anger and they're like, okay, so I need to suddenly be empowered and I need to be bigger than and better and like move past what the person did to me or what happened to me, and I can stand in power pose and yeah,
Mm.
I feel so powerful. I've got like Jennifer Coolidge in my mind, like wow,
Yeah.
yeah, wow. And
Wow.
it's like there's something in the body, even acting that out, that like feels a bit icky because it's not in resonance of like
Mm.
also the grief and sadness and the helplessness of what happened in that situation needs to be fully witnessed, felt, and moved through. And
Mm.
oftentimes, with old emotions arising in breath work, that's coming up because it didn't get to complete. Like your
Yeah.
body went into shutdown, so didn't get to scream or didn't get to cry, it didn't get to wail this like deep guttural wail that the every cell of the body wanted to express, but there wasn't the space or time for it. And so
Mm.
it's not about, oh, but if I'm going to go into victim, I'm going to be stuck there. Like you also said this about the anger
Yeah.
emotion, like that is totally a valid fear. I understand that.
Yeah.
Might be that emotion is there for a while. I think for me it was like 6 months I was stuck in this. I wouldn't say stuck, I was just moving. I was like swimming through a bog, like sadness and helplessness and depressive feelings, and it was
Yeah.
necessary. And now looking
Yeah.
back on it, like that's what gave me the qualifications. Now was like fucking swimming through that. So when we say about going into out of the victim, it's like, okay, let's go into it. And also the
Mm.
retreat when you're coming, like we have day 2 is actually all about grief and hurt and all
Mm.
about feeling like allowing yourself to complain, allowing yourself to reflect, allowing yourself to notice like, oh, fuck, it hurts so much. Oh, like really the voice comes in here and the heart and the tears. And for women, this is very easy to go into.
Mm.
It's a necessary process as a for the women in the retreat to go first into sadness so that the tears can be shed. I like to have this image of like a barrel of water that's like, okay, we're scooping, there's loads of water in here, tears, okay, we've got to let it out. Oh, we've hit the bottom. Oh,
Mm.
now we can maybe put a little candle down here and then the fire can actually like start to light. Not that you'd put a candle in a barrel, but you know what I mean.
It's an excellent metaphor. I love it.
So then authentic anger comes through.
Yeah.
And not anger where you're going back into crocodile tears or into crying again, because I had that in my experience. Like my nervous system kept defaulting back into sadness. And
Mm.
like I would feel a bit of anger come. I was like, oh no, but I'm still so sad about it because it needed to come through. And
Yeah.
that's I say this also as like generalization for women, but I've noticed in my mixed retreats the same exercise I take the men through, I actually sometimes let them start with anger and then they find their way to vulnerability and to tears. So
Mm.
that there is cultural how women are raised, how we're told to be, how
Yeah.
what is rewarded. Like if we cry, people come to us. If we're angry, people go away.
Oof.
That's conditioned from very young. So it makes sense that we would feel more comfortable crying and feeling sad first.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. I'm so excited for your retreat. You have no idea. I like keep telling, I'm like everybody, I'm like, you have no idea. Like it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so juicy. And I love this metaphor and I love your perspective on this because it is such a default. It's such a deep, like to go into poor me mode.
Mhm.
right? And like, I know I think about like from even from myself, but what I see, it's like in clients, it's like if we respond with a boundary, if we respond with, we respond in our power, we're being assertive, how quickly it is for, it happened recently. I saw it happen where it was like, I don't like your tone,
Mhm.
right? Or like, uh, what was the best one I heard recently was, oh my gosh, it's like you come across as arrogant,
Mhm.
self-assured, right? And I'm like, how crippling that is for women if that is the stereotype that comes when we're in our power, when we're in our confidence,
Yeah.
when we are asserting ourselves, not from a place of victimhood, not from a place of someone else being the villain, but to be sovereign and to be standing in that camp, in that I'm thinking like the flame and in the well, when we've done the work, we're not standing here looking and saying, I'm a victim. We're standing here and we're saying, I'm whole
Mhm.
and I'm asking you to rise with me and I'm expressing my needs and I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm not trying to take anything from you, right? This is me advocating for myself. How quickly that is, not
Female.
just by men, but by women.
Yeah.
That's when it happens the most. And I think that the work that I can only imagine that will unfold at this retreat, that will happen in the facilitator training, that when we heal those wounds with other women, when we're seen in our power, when we're seen in our fierceness, when we're seen in our sacred fire, right? With awe, with reverence, with acceptance, like
Yeah.
so much can heal.
This reminds me a lot when I worked in corporate. Yes, I had a past life as
Oh
a
my gosh, you worked in corporate? I didn't know that.
yeah,
Oh,
used to be
wow.
project manager, business development manager. And I
Oh,
remember exhibiting the same characteristics to some as my male colleagues, like clarity, questioning, like not rude also. It's
of course.
just clear, like not even with a tone. And it would be like, she's not really a team player, is she? And then if my male colleagues are promotion material for the
Mm,
exact same points and moments. And so this actually started like in me as a quite a young woman, like age 22, already feeling like quite a lot of rage and noticing,
yeah.
just noticing imbalances happening. I had a very feminist manager who was like my first entry point into the work, and she like now I see it as like I don't fully resonate with like new age, new wave, whatever wave feminism now. It's like the what's her name? The woman who was COO of Facebook and things like this
Mm,
kind of feminism that's very white feminism. And I like
yeah.
had to go through that process as a young woman to like understand like not everything is okay with the world and to like be aware of it.
Yeah.
But indeed, like just exhibiting in clarity, it's like with love, no, how dare you?
Yeah.
And this is something that in the retreat, and I imagine you're doing this also with your women, like standing in this kind of power has ripples.
Mm,
You are not going to be everyone's favorite flavor when you leave. And
no.
also about being okay with that. And that's why the retreats are very powerful because it says like a new community. There's like a new connection of like, wow, I didn't know I could relate with women in this way. Where, like you say, the
Yeah.
wound is healed and they become a support network afterwards because things will change. Like when these people in whatever container where either of us are, I think this is happening.
Yeah.
Um, there's something shifts inside where no longer the like magnet is just a bit off. Like, oh, wow, I really put up with you talking like to me in that way before. I
Yeah.
don't I would love for myself. It's enough.
Yeah.
And this is very triggering. And the last example I'll bring in is that even in the case of I had a very bad encounter with a nice guy a couple of months ago.
Mm.
And we can talk about nice guys at another point. But even in that moment where this person was forcing themselves physically on top of me, and
Mm.
I was in freeze, and when I came out of freeze, I pushed them off, saying, I don't want to do that. And they were like,
Mm.
"Ah, that wasn't very nice." And I was like, sir. So even
We got a
that
lot to
level
work
of
to do
delulu,
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
even that level of delulu
Yeah.
of like women are expected to be nice and considerate of people's feelings,
Yeah.
no matter the circumstances. And that, yeah, I had a problem. Watch.
And I'm thinking, it's like as you're sharing this, it's like how often we go to like we bond with women. We're taught to, or maybe conditioned to bond with women over being sensitive, over caring and nurturing, and that can sometimes turn into over giving and over nurturing and over holding in our friendships. How empowering to be seen in your full sovereignty, your boundaries, your clarity, your communication, your direct communication with love, and have people that can see you and you bond with over that.
Yeah.
Right. And if you want to meet those kind of people, you go to retreats, you go to trainings. Like that's where everybody that I've met, all of my like ride or die coven that's in my world now are people that I've met in situations exactly like this, trainings, retreats, plant medicine spaces. And to be able to have conversations with other women who get it, who can see you, and there's not this like yes, we can be soft and we can be fucking fierce.
Yeah.
And we revere that within each other. We're not intimidated
Yeah.
by each other. So powerful. So freaking powerful.
Oh, I'm so excited for life with all these amazing women.
Oh no. Oh no, it's so good. What have we not covered?
Well, what I think is also very helpful with talking about sexual trauma
Yeah, yeah.
is around the topic of like how do you forgive?
Right, yes.
And not just the person, if it's somebody else, if it's a collective, a movement, or however
Mm,
your boundaries were crossed, but also how do you also forgive yourself?
mm,
And there's a lot of anger. I noticed that when it's projected outwards, that it's like, yes, I'm angry at what happened, but if I really bring the responsibility back, and this again comes up to the victim topic, like
yeah.
where are you giving your center of authority of how you feel away?
Yeah.
Where are you waiting for something to change on the outside, like the person to apologize, for the law to change, for something
Mm,
to change externally, and then I
mm,
feel good? Because
mm,
that is like a never-ending quest that will create continuous internalized pressure and stress and rage inside because you're waiting for something that you can't control.
yeah.
And so a lot of this work is like how do you embody forgiveness and
Mm,
not let me go sit in the Catholic church and confess my sins and ask for forgiveness from a priest in the little cabin, but
yeah.
how do I find freedom inside of myself? And that isn't just linked to sexual trauma, that's about any grievance that's happened. Like of your parents, how they raised you, of people that hurt you in your life, of anything that you carry that holds
Mm,
contraction, that where there's
mm,
resentment, where it doesn't feel closed, it doesn't feel complete, where you still feel jealous, you still feel like, oh, cringe. All of these like backlog of memories and emotions inside, they're
mm,
still there. And they still come into every interaction that's them. And for me, that's what I love with this work. It's like
yeah.
about really taking responsibility back for your own life. So the anger alchemy process is really for women about just growing the fuck up.
Mm,
I've had women come to these retreats who are like 40, 50, 60
yeah.
with little maidens inside, little girls inside, with the
Yeah.
bodies of women, but the inner hearts and navigational skills of conversations and relationships of little girls. And it's like
Mm,
at some point in this journey, and for me, this was like my end of my 20s, that I just realized that no one was coming.
mm,
And in a
yeah.
beautiful way. Like I had
Yes.
to stop waiting for the next job or the next boyfriend and someone to save me from my pain. And whenever I meet the millionaire sugar daddy, that was always the dream. Like,
Mm.
yeah, they'll just save. When I meet the rich person, that's moved my problems.
Uh-huh.
When I realized that wasn't happening, and I actually had to like pull up my boots and trout and just be like, okay, like I got to go through this.
Yeah.
And that really, I find, is what makes women women. Like that they're really carrying that they know they enter into a room and they're like, I'm no longer looking to be saved, but I actually have energy and capacity to bring in to hold, to like really have like the big hits of the mother into every
Yes.
room and not over giving and over saving. But there's really this different frequency, like you say, the sovereignty,
Yeah.
grounded, rooted, connected, present, and so much magic happens when those archetypes start to come through as well.
I'm just like seeing the priestess in you. and seeing, I mean, this is the initiation of the priestess, right? This is the recognizing that it's got to be you,
Yeah.
that no one is coming to save you.
Oh.
That I know, fucking A, it's got to be me. Listen, I have this realization every month at the end of my menstrual cycle. I'm like, it's gotta be me. Yeah, it's gonna, I gotta be self-responsible, right? Like I gotta put my big girl pants on and do it. It's like, and not in a way of like, I don't need anybody's help. I don't, it's not that. We're not like, you know, we're not overdoing it, right? It's a space of like taking radical personal responsibility for your healing, right? One of my plant medicine mentors always says, like, I'm responsible for my healing, you're responsible for your healing. And if we can all hold that, right, we'll be able to go so much deeper together. We won't have these entanglements that are secretly siphoning off our energy, right? And we will be fully embodied, and our medicine and our magic and what makes, like, one of the reasons I work with Rose, which we didn't talk about much, but she embodies this beautiful life cycle, right? It's like we start with, we have a seed, and we grow and we rise, but we don't rise unprotected. We've got thorns,
Mhm.
right? We know how to welcome things that are healthy for us in and keep what's unhealthy out. We stand in our power, we rise, we open, we bloom, and then it doesn't end there, right? We contract, we release, and we go through these initiations again and again and again. And I think that what's so powerful about the work that you do, that we're all doing here, is especially with women, is returning, like returning us to the natural rhythms and cycles, and also the archetypes that exist within us,
Mhm.
right? If we can learn to parent the child and give the maiden her space to do her thing, right? And embody the deep warmth of the mother, right? If we can really, it's how we mature. It's how we move through life as real, embodied, empowered women. And we're not the victims of what's happened to us. We take what has happened, and we turn it into something that happens for us.
Yeah, the alchemy process.
That's the alchemy, right? And and the same thing with forgiveness. It's like, and we choose to say, it's not okay. I'm not excusing what happened as being okay,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't mean that I'm bypassing that.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to set myself free through forgiveness.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to release the hold this has over my life force energy, because we need women dropped into their full magic. We need embodied women,
Mhm.
right? We don't need the traumatized little girl running the show. We need her to be parented. We need her to be loved, so that you can really rise and do your fucking work that you're here to do in your life. I mean, my gosh, there's so much magic in medicine that we get to create. And I can't wait to meet the women who are called to your retreat. I can't wait to meet the next class of breathwork facilitators who are going to get to go on this wild journey of death and rebirth together, and for all the incredible alchemy that is coming forward out of this conversation. It's so delicious.
I love it, really. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's one when we talk about the women also who like come to the retreat, that there are also just people who have normal jobs and normal lives, and that this work also, even like you can do breathwork certification for yourself, like to
Yeah.
understand yourself. Like
Yes.
we also had so many people join our training that, like, I also joined my training just to know myself better first. I didn't have any intention of working with people. Now look where I am, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really like I feel like it's such a beautiful gift, privilege, and the ability to just understand thyself more
Yeah.
is something that like it's never ending. And when you really find people that you resonate with, who you see something in as a positive teacher projection, but actually all you're seeing is what's already inside of yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's also why I resonate so much. Like I really love your presence and what you're bringing. And
Mm.
there's so much of the soft feminine that I still am like trying to like tap into in the past years. If you would have met me 3 years ago,
Mm.
shit, I was so in my masculine, so wicked. so like mental. And even my colleagues were like, in the last 2 years, were like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, you've softened so much. I'm like, yeah, I actually have. Like, it's so beautiful to see that retrospectively. And
Yeah.
I love that there's people coming into my field that I can learn this from even more as well.
We get to mirror to each other in such a beautiful way, and that's what women know how to do.
Yeah.
We know how to reflect that, and I think that when we step into this work and we go and we say yes to our own healing, we also get to meet women who are saying yes to their own healing, and there's an immediate resonance. Even though we've only met in person one time, it's like, yeah, tell me all. Like, I think we just got together, we sat there, we like ordered coffee. They're like, okay, how are you arriving? Like, we just went right in, and it's like the bonds that you make with women when you go to these events, when you sign up for trainings. Yes, like you said, like you might use this training in a way that you don't even know yet, but for yourself, like we don't. Who teaches us? I mean, that wasn't part of my childhood curriculum, was learning how to regulate my nervous system and reparent myself, right? Like, this is a life training that we're learning. We're learning how to communicate better. We're learning how to be better parents, better siblings, better friends, better lovers, right? Better coworkers. Like, it just is, to me, for anybody who's like looking at your retreat, who is considering, facilitating training, anything, it's like the investment that you pour into yourself, you don't even know how that will ripple back and how it will pour into your future. It's such a, like, when you say yes to these things, you're really saying yes to all the people who are saying yes to
Yeah.
themselves. And I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. It's such an honor to have these really intimate moments offline with other women, and I can't wait.
So I have one last question,
Yeah,
input.
do it.
I always love calling out the elephants in the room. And
Yeah,
we are two white women in the healing space offering
yeah,
a course that or a retreat that is maybe seen higher ticket, higher pricing of everyone has different perspectives, but yeah, it's also like I get called out on this a lot, even though that
yeah,
for the retreats, like we have sponsored spaces and they're already filled. Like I always they're for single mothers or people from minority groups or people working who are also working with clients
yeah,
in those groups. But for your training, I'd love to hear a bit about because we you told me a bit that you bring in new modules, and I
yeah,
love to hear this because it's becoming more and more a topic that can't be avoided in the healing spaces. And
yeah.
yeah,
We
I
can't we can't avoid it, and we shouldn't, right? And this is, one of the reasons why the program needed to be restructured. What I started to realize, and I felt this immediately from the beginning of the program, is that um, it having one teacher lead the space who is a white woman is setting up an industry model that is not something I want to repeat. And so the program is specifically being restructured to bring in a really gorgeous soul sister of mine, Brianna Clover. She is a decolonial and liberation guide, and she's coming in to hold the BIPOC space and also to do interracial healing, inner sisterhood healing that we can really drop in and attune to the elephant in the room, not just in our minds, but in our bodies, where the the stem of racism really lives. It's inherited within us, even if we aren't aware of it, right? And so I will be there in the program, part of the lifelong learning and unlearning process. I will not be leading that space, nor is it appropriate for me to be leading that space. So Brianna is building out a whole curriculum, and it won't just be her, right? We'll have other other facilitators coming in the global majority as well, so that we have a larger collective field of voices to listen, to learn from, to have separate spaces where members in the global majority in our community can have a private holding for that healing work that around race, and that we can have multiple ways of unpacking this at the level of the body and be what Resmaa Menakem calls a somatic abolitionist, that we can really do this work in our bodies and build up the resiliency and not have the fragility. When we talk about race, it can be a very uncomfortable conversation, right? Understandably so. And that we can lean into it imperfectly, that we can lean into it, and it can get messy, and we can have a space where we can hold the emotions that are maybe something that will never be able to understand as a white woman, what a client in the global majority might be navigating. And so I'm really excited about where this is heading, and how the curriculum model is shifting to include this not just as a bonus module, but having it woven in from the very beginning, not just having something like tokenized as like an after, oh, by the way, here's our, the BIPOC space, right? No, this is actually something that we'll be weaving in throughout the whole time, and I'll be on the journey of discovery and learning and unlearning, and it's something I knew that we just can't avoid anymore. We can't avoid, and it has to be in our trainings, and it needs to be integrated from the very beginning. I'm really glad that you brought this up.
Yeah, it's very important to be
Yeah,
talking about, and there's always ways to be making this in all the trainings and places.
yeah.
So yeah, you're really leading by example. And like I was looking through your class, I was like, oh, amazing. This like I also want to go to these classes.
Yeah, I mean
Wow.
it's gonna be something really special. We have a really epic long-term vision, and looking at like, I think I'll speak perfectly transparently about this, that this has been a vision from the very beginning, and what stopped me from saying yes to it was feeling like I had to do it perfectly, or feeling like I was afraid to say the wrong thing, of being called out, being judged, and I realized that that was actually making it about me and not about the healing and doing what I thought was the right thing. And so I'm naming this from a place of like, man, this is like experimental, imperfect, messy work. And I'm learning that when we start to navigate this, it's better to start it messy and lean into the imperfectionism, because perfectionism is another imprint of colonialism, right? And white supremacy, right? And so how can we lean in together? And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how the program expands. We've got BIPOC scholarships as well, and hopefully that'll be something we can even expand more. We've got a portion of the proceeds will be going towards people that I'm directly DMing on the ground in Gaza, and finding ways that we can circulate resources. We've got an affiliate program. I mean, looking at ways that we can be both well resourced so that we can sustainably do this work, and ways that we can circulate, right? That's like the whole point. That's the whole point. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all evolves.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was very beautiful chat.
Rich. It was rich, Ashley. Thank you.
Bearing in mind of timings of also when whoever you are watching that you
Yes, right.
so if you are watching this before, when is your launch date?
Applications close September 26th. We start October 1st. For
2020.
2025. Yes, the program will run again in the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my retreat is the 26th to the 31st of October in the Netherlands in
Mhm.
2025.
Mm.
I'll put all the links anyway into the bio, but we are actually doing a workshop, an online workshop in just under a week and a half. So there will, if it's past the date of 14th of September, then there will be a link in the bio for how to see the recording of that. So you
Yeah.
can actually get to experience not just us chatting, but also some practices, and to move through hour and a half, 2 hour workshop to really go deeper into your anger and into your sensuality and
Yeah. I always say, if you're gonna listen to a podcast with somatic practitioners, you're only getting like half of the work, right? We gotta go into the body. And so if I would say to anybody listening to this, you're curious and it's sparking some resonance within you, um, yeah, check out the work and let's hold space and see what comes out. Yeah, it'd be really beautiful. I can't wait. It's on Sunday. If you're catching this early, it's on Sunday, September 14th. So will be really
Yeah,
a fire workshop.
amazing. Thank you so much, love. I'm really looking forward to
Thank you,
the
Ashley.
next months with you.
Yeah, thanks, babe. I appreciate you.
Yay. Okay, let me pause.